My good people, my good people. Hello, world. Welcome back to the show that's hot with your boy, Rob Scott. This is Robs2Cents. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good. Hope you guys had a great weekend and hope you're starting off the week right, being productive. Hope everybody's been safe, especially my people in the Chicagoland area. You know, over the weekend we got hit with a nice little snowstorm. We haven't seen snow like this in a minute. So, you know, people had to break out the shovels, break out the snow blowers, and break out the snow brushes. But we made it, y'all, and hope you guys are continuing to travel safely in the Chicago streets. And before I begin, who would I be without saying happy Black History Month, my good people? Now, you can clearly see that I'm a black man and I do understand the significance of this month. And I want to personally thank any and everybody who has had anything to do with bringing equality and bringing equality and a fair shot to people like me. I know what the Dr. Martin Luther Kings have done, the Malcolm X's, the Rosa Parks, everybody. Even looking at today, you have people like LeBron James and Steven Jackson, Captain Jack. I got to give you a shout out because you've been on the front line out here fighting for us. Even today, we see some traces of racism, but things have gotten much better than what they used to be. We've been able to have rights, and I truly appreciate all of our ancestors and people before me and people right now and people who will come after me who continue to fight the good fight for racial equality and justice in this country, in this land that we call the United States of America. I am truly grateful and thankful, and I will be doing a tribute to a person of color in sports who made huge contributions in the fight for racial equality. And because of your fight and because of what you've done, you give me the freedoms to speak on different topics that I choose to. And what I have chosen as my topic of choice is sports, baby, the great unifier. I feel like sports bring us all together. And speaking of bringing us all together, something like family, let's talk about what the Ball brothers did this past weekend. Now, as we know, they faced the Milwaukee Bucks. Friday night, the Bucks went against the New Orleans Pelicans, and on Saturday night, the Bucks went against the Charlotte Hornets. The Ball brothers dominated in those games, back-to-back Friday and Saturday night. Let's look at what happened on Friday. As we look on Friday evening, we saw the New Orleans Pelicans defeat the Milwaukee Bucks 131 to 126. Now, Giannis had a great game. He went for 38 points. He had 11 rebounds. He had 5 assists. But Lonzo went crazy by Lonzo standards. Lonzo had 27 in the game, dishing out 8 dimes, and he also went 7 of 13 from the three-point line. Lonzo had a great game against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, we know that the three-point ball has not been a strong facet in Lonzo's game. However, he has shown that he has been consistently practicing in the gym. And with hard work comes great progress. And now Lonzo is actually a person that you don't want to leave open at the three-point line and has become a pretty consistent shooter for the New Orleans Pelicans. But if we look at what happened Saturday night, my good people, we saw that the Milwaukee Bucks came back out on a back-to-back evening where they went against the Charlotte Hornets, also in a losing effort, falling 126 to 114. Giannis, again, had a great game out there, 34 points, 18 rebounds, and 9 assists. However, LaMelo Ball came in and stole the show, where he also scored 27 points, had 9 dimes, 5 rebounds, was 8 for 10 from the field, and only had 1 turnover. LaMelo came in and dominated off the bench, And Lonzo and LaMelo Ball showed that they are two brothers to be reckoned with. Lonzo and LaMelo Ball. Them boys cold. And I know somewhere LeVar Ball was smiling, saying, I told you so. Even though the Ball brothers are far from being MVP, they did give us MVP-like performances. But speaking of MVPs, we have yet to crown the most valuable player in the National Football League. And right now, I'm going to be giving you my top 3 candidates in this coveted MVP race. Now, to me, and most of the NFL fans around the league, we kind of have an idea who's going to be earning the right to call themselves the most valuable player in the league. I'm going to give you a hint. Discount double check. But right now, we're going to go through each one of these candidates and discuss their accolades and why they should be crowned MVP. Now, as we know, the MVP winner will be announced the day before the Super Bowl. So that will be Saturday evening, this up-and-coming Saturday evening, we will finally know who is going to be the MVP. Now, if we look at the first candidate, it will be Patrick Mahomes. Now, Patrick Mahomes threw for 4,740 yards, including 38 touchdowns and 6 interceptions on the year. Not to mention, he did lead the Kansas City Chiefs to a 14-2 record, in which they were the best team in the league. Now, postseason, we know that Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs will be making their second consecutive Super Bowl appearance. But we know that this award is based off what was done in the regular season, and Patrick Mahomes had a hell of a regular season. And if we look at the second candidate, that will be Derrick Henry of the Tennessee Titans. Now, Derrick Henry had a great season. He ran for 2,027 yards, including 3 200-yard games, and also had 17 touchdowns to go with those running yards. This was the first time in his career that he ran for over 2,000 yards. Now, unfortunately, postseason, his season was ended in the first round of the playoffs, losing to Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. But Derrick Henry had a hell of a year on the ground, rumbling and tumbling and making it hard for the front seven of most defenses. But the last candidate who I will speak on and who I think will be the winner will be your boy A-Rod, Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers on the year threw for 4,299 yards. However, he had 48 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers led the Green Bay Packers to the number 1 spot in the NFC Conference. And if we look at his body of work, he threw for more touchdowns and less interceptions than Pat Mahomes. And he had more of an impact on his team than Derrick Henry did this past season. Now, we know Aaron Rodgers led his team all the way to the NFC Conference Championship, in which they lost to the Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because you know GOAT Brady wasn't going to give up his chance to go to another Super Bowl. However, Aaron Rodgers had a hell of a regular season. I know there's some discussions about is he going to be coming back to Green Bay. I personally think he will, unless they can pull off a hell of a trade, but I doubt that the Green Bay Packers will be giving up Aaron Rodgers. Let's be real. Aaron Rodgers will be back in the green and yellow playing back at Lambeau Field next season. But this season, when it's all said and done, after Saturday evening, he will be able to call himself the league's most valuable player. But we want to jump right back into basketball, because here on Robs2Cents, this show don't stop. And speaking of don't stop, Utah has not stopped winning. Well, they did last night, but beforehand, they were winning. Utah has had an amazing start to their NBA season so far. Utah currently sits in second place in the Western Conference, right behind the Clippers. Their record is currently at 15-5. The Jazz in the league as a whole are ninth in points per game. They're third in opponents' points per game, so they are playing defense. And then thanks to Rudy Gobert, who is ranked third amongst players in the league, averaging 13.8 rebounds a game, the Utah Jazz are first in rebounds per game. You want to talk about rebounded by committee? The Utah Jazz are making sure that you don't get any second chance points. They're going to be grabbing rebounds, and they are going to be limiting your offensive possessions when you play against them. Now, the Jazz, as mentioned, were on an 11-game winning streak until they met the Nuggets Sunday evening, a game in which the Joker, Nikola Jokic, dropped 47 points on them boys. Gonna be hard to beat the Denver Nuggets when the Joker's out there playing like that. However, Utah does look for real. But there's a couple questions around Utah because we've seen them look for real before. The questions are going to be, can they sustain this momentum for an entire season? And can they translate this great regular season play to a playoff run? Only time will tell, and we're going to be finding out. Stay tuned as we will keep our eyes on the Utah Jazz. But man, let me tell y'all about y'all favorite team, about you new bandwagon jumpers. The Brooklyn Nets are struggling, y'all. I know they are continuing to win games, but anybody who knows the game of basketball know that defensively, they got some problems. The Brooklyn Nets last night without James Harden, Sunday evening, I should say, lost to the Washington Wizards, who is the worst team in the NBA. And this game had a crazy ending, y'all. I want to set the stage for you guys. And before I do that, I just want to let you know that they allowed Westbrook and Bradley Beal to score 6 points in 7 seconds to steal the W. Okay? That's 6 points in 7 seconds to steal the W. Let me set the stage for you. Kyrie had just made 2 free throws, which made the score 146-144 Brooklyn's way. I think it was about 9 seconds left on the clock. Bradley Beal comes down in 3 seconds and makes it 3. Actually, it was about 11 seconds on the clock. I remember because it got down to about 8 seconds after Bradley Beal connected on that 3. So after that, of course, Brooklyn goes to inbound the ball, and a lazy pass by Joe Harris looking for Kevin Durant. Garrison Matthews of the Washington Wizards was able to steal that inbound pass, okay? He then ran to the corner, saw Russell standing there on the wing, and passed the ball to Russell Westbrook, who has historically not been a great three-point shooter. However, Russell Westbrook shot the ball with such conviction and such confidence that he knocked down another 3, making the score 147-141, which left 147-146, and that left 2.9 seconds on the clock. Now, Brooklyn, they tried to inbound the pass to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant actually looked as if he was going to dunk the ball. Russell Westbrook was able to get a defensive stop, knocking the ball out of bounds, which left 2.9 seconds on the clock. Then Kyrie Irving, who traveled, passed the ball to Cabarrot, TLC, and he was not able to convert on the last-second layup. Bradley Beal was then fouled, and Beal goes to the line, ices the game with 2 free throws. Brooklyn Nets loses to the Wizards 149-146. Russell Westbrook led all scorers with 41 points. He also had 10 rebounds and 8 assists, 2 assists shy of another triple-double on the year. Bradley Beal came in, helped him out with 37 points, and scored 22 of his 37 in the fourth quarter. Now, Durant did have 37 points for Brooklyn, along with 7 rebounds. Kyrie had 26, shooting 50% from the field. However, Brooklyn once again proves that offensively, They are miles ahead of the competition, okay? They can score the ball. But defensively, they got some problems, okay? Brooklyn Nets, I want you to look at this camera. All you Brooklyn Nets fans and lovers out there, I need y'all to look at this camera, okay? You let the worst team in the league, in the Washington Wizards, score 149 points in regulation. No overtime. This was strictly a 4-quarter game. And you allow the worst team in the league to score 149 points on you. You let Russell Westbrook waltz in the hole. You let Bradley Beal waltz in the hole. We talking about a team that does not really have a big man that you can pass to down on the post. And they were able to score 70-something points in the game. In the paint. Brooklyn Nets, shame on you. Now, I understand that you wanted to get James Harden. But what you let go of, what you guys had to let go of, you let go of all of your defense. DeAndre Jordan ain't the same. He has lost that bounce in his step. He is not the same guy that used to spring and get blocks and rebounds and put people in the coffin catching alley-oops. This is a different DeAndre Jordan. You let go of Jared Allen. You let go of Karis LeVert. You let go of all the elements that made you the Brooklyn Nets. Now you stuck being able to score the ball. But if the Brooklyn Nets was the vaccine, I'm sorry, y'all. We all had COVID. Shame on you, Brooklyn. Shame on you. Now, I know they're trying to solve their defensive deficiencies by trying to sign Iman Shumpert, which they did over the weekend. I don't know when Shumpert will make his debut with the team. However, we haven't seen Iman play in a while. We don't know what kind of player he still is, but I doubt he's just going to be the answer to all of your prayers. He will bring some toughness with his defense on the wings, but even back then, Iman Shumpert wasn't a guy that was just going to stop you, okay? The Nets need to be seriously looking to make some moves before the trade deadline, because based off what we're seeing right now, if they go against Philly, and Joel Embiid is healthy and the Philadelphia 76ers are healthy, they are going to have their way with the Brooklyn Nets. You heard it here first on Robs2Cents. But I know the reason that you guys came to this show. I know last week I promised you that I'll be going over my predictions for the Super Bowl. And in this Super Bowl, we're going to have Tampa Bay versus Kansas City. The GOAT versus the future. Who has the better weapons? Who will make the right plays at the right time? Oh, this game is for all the marbles, ladies and gentlemen. Pat Mahomes, as mentioned earlier, will be playing in his second consecutive Super Bowl game. Tom Brady will be playing in his 10th Super Bowl in his 20-year career. Tampa Bay has the home field advantage because the city of Tampa Bay will be hosting this year's Super Bowl. And as we know, this is the first time in history that a team will have the clear-cut home field advantage. However, this won't be the first time that Kansas City has played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in their home. Let's look back in Week 12 when these teams met for the first and only time this past season. Because when they did meet, the Chiefs were able to defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 27-24. Tom Brady was 27-41 on the day, 345 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns, but he did throw 2 interceptions. Ronald Jones, the second, had 9 carries for 66 yards with no touchdowns on the ground. However, he did have 1 reception for 37 yards and 1 touchdown in the air. Rob Gronkowski had a great game that day, having 6 receptions for 106 yards with 0 touchdowns. Chris Godwin had 8 receptions for 97 yards with 0 touchdowns. But the boy Mike Evans had 3 receptions for 50 yards and 2 touchdowns late in the fourth. Pat Mahomes, though, however, had almost a perfect game. He was 37 to 49, 462 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He did have 4 carries for 28 yards as well, but he coughed the ball up one time with one forced fumble. Tyreek Hill had a game. 13 receptions for 269 yards, 3 touchdowns. Travis Kelce had 8 receptions for 82 yards with 0 touchdowns. I'm talking about Pat Mahomes and his weapons were out in full force against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's look at what happened in this game. The Chiefs came out the gate firing on all cylinders. As Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill put on a display of pure dominance, as mentioned, Tyreek Hill did run for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Not half, quarter. Tyreek Hill caught 2 touchdowns and received 203 receiving yards in the first quarter. However, Tom Brady was able to regain control of things by throwing a touchdown to Rojo Jones in the second, after his defense was able to force Mahomes to fumble that ball in the red zone. The Bucs defense were able to hold the Chiefs to only 3 points. However, in the third, Mahomes said enough is enough, and him and Hill connected again for a third touchdown. This time, the Chiefs not only held the Bucs to just 3 points in the third, but they were also able to make Tom Brady cough up the ball twice when he threw 2 unlikely picks to the Kansas City Chiefs defense. And I felt like that kind of halted his momentum. At the time he threw those interceptions, the Buccaneers were on the move, looking to be scoring again. One of those interceptions, I think he tried to throw it up for grabs. However, only the defender was there to receive the pass. And then on the second interception, I believe the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage, and it was able to be caught by one of the linebackers, and they were able to come up again with the interception. However, in the fourth quarter, though, Tom was clutch. He was able to bounce back with 2 touchdown connections to Mike Evans. But the Chiefs, once they received the ball back, it was like 4 minutes left to go. They pretty much played the game of possession, okay? The Chiefs are the kings of this. Pat Mahomes knows how to keep the ball. And with some key passes to Travis Kelce, with some great rushes from the quarterback, being able to get outside of the pocket, being able to keep the play alive, and then using his legs to get those key first downs to make the Buccaneers run out of all their timeouts. What they pretty much did was ice the game. Pat Mahomes, once he received the ball, he knew, I do not want to give Tom Brady a chance to do those Tom-like things that GOAT Brady does. And the Buccaneers never saw the ball again. Pat Mahomes pretty much ran the clock out. The Chiefs were your winner, final score being 27-24. Now, with that being said, you want to know who I'm going to pick to win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, Pat, and I'm a huge fan of Pat Mahomes. I honestly think that once Tom Brady officially retires, he is up next. Pat Mahomes is going to be running things in this league for a long time. But you never go against the GOAT. I believe that right now, the stars are aligned for Tom Brady to get his 7th ring, okay? That's going to be 7 rings in 10 tries. That is an amazing record. 70% in the Super Bowl, that when he makes it, he's going to win it. Now, even though Pat Mahomes has the best 2 weapons in the game with Hill and Kelce, we can't forget Tom Brady. Old GOAT Brady got some weapons too with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, hopefully Antonio Brown, and Rob Gronkowski. And plus, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is a little better than the Kansas City Chiefs defense. And I just believe right now that defense has gotten into a rhythm, and it has the momentum going at the right time. And I believe that the Buccaneers defense will be able to get some key stops. They will be able to hold Pat Mahomes at bay. And I believe that Tampa Bay will be winning the Super Bowl. They will be your winners 21-17. Giving Tom Brady his 7th coveted Super Bowl championship. Now, on a great side note, we saw that WWE had an excellent Royal Rumble where we saw Bianca Belair show that black girl, magic girl. She entered in the Women's Royal Rumble at number 3 and was able to win the Women's Royal Rumble match. And we saw the return of my boy, the rated R superstar. We saw Edge, who entered in at number 1, win the men's Royal Rumble match. And I can't wait to see who they're going to choose as their respective opponents for the upcoming WrestleMania match. If you guys don't know, that there is a champion on Raw and there is a champion on SmackDown. And once you win the Royal Rumble, you have the right to choose any champion that you want to go against on the granddaddy stage of them all, WrestleMania, which happens to be the biggest show that WWE produced. I know that Monday Night Raw has not been going so good. SmackDown has been an awesome show to watch. Roman Reigns was able to defend his title and retain his title against Kevin Owens in the last standing match. And I implore you guys, if you are a wrestling fan or a nerd, I don't care what you like to be called because I have my nerd ways too, I implore you to go watch this Royal Rumble. It was not a bad Royal Rumble considering the fact we still have no fans in the stands. But the spirit of the fans were there, and it was just great to see Edge. As we know, Edge had a career-ending injury when his neck was pretty much messed up. However, with the advances in modern medicine and science, he was able to have a surgery in which allowed him to come back to doing what he loved, which is be a professional wrestler. And it was just great to see him standing there at the end, pointing up at the WrestleMania sign and knowing that even though he is a Hall of Famer right now, he is just continuing to add more and more accolades to his illustrious career as a professional wrestler. And we are down to the end of my show. And as promised, as being a black man celebrating Black History Month, I want to give a personal shout out to Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali will be my first athlete of choice to speak about. He was born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr., January 17th, 1942, and he died as Muhammad Ali, June 3rd, 2016, at the age of 74. Now, Muhammad Ali has 61 professional bouts. He had 56 wins, 37 by way of knockout, with only 5 losses. He is a 4-time WBA heavyweight champion of the world, 2-time WBC heavyweight champion of the world, 3-time lineal heavyweight champion of the world, and an inductee to the International Boxing Hall of Fame. But we know who Ali was as a boxer. We know about the pretty guy, about the man that was so pretty, about the man that was so fast, about the man that floated like a butterfly and stung like a bee because the hands couldn't hit what the eyes couldn't see. We know about Muhammad Ali. But let me tell you about Muhammad Ali, the man. A man that stood on principles, a man that stood on values, and a man that would not take the easy way out. Because we know that Muhammad Ali almost lost his boxing career when he refused to go to the Vietnam War. I believe that was the war that we were in at that time. And he let it be known that he had no beef with the Vietnamese people, that his beef was with the oppressors that he was facing in America. And Ali voiced his opinion. They tried to take him to jail. I believe he did serve a little jail time for that. They revoked his boxing license. And he did not let that deter him from being a strong man and continuing to fight for what he believed in, which was he wanted to see equality for his people. He wanted to see his people have a better chance at this thing called the American dream, that you shouldn't have to be an athlete or a rapper to make a decent living in this country, that you should be able to have the right to vote. You should be able to eat at a restaurant and sit at any table that you choose, to drink at whatever water fountain you wanted to drink at. I mean, one thing that I learned about this country is that we try to sweep things under the rug and act as if they didn't happen. Those things happen. I love speaking with my grandmother, and she'll be 95 this year, March the 1st. And thank the creator that I still have her around and she still has all her wits. Oh, my grandma will tell you about yourself. But I'm thankful for those conversations that I get to have with her. And she tell me how it really is, because even though we see these things on movies and we see these things on the History Channel or we read them in textbooks, unless you lived it, you really don't understand what people had to go through just for me to have the right to talk to you, to have a fair chance at this thing called the American dream. I'm not asking for a handout. I'm just asking that when I put in the same work as my counterparts in this country, that you don't overlook what I do and what I bring to the table. And that's what Ali stood for. Muhammad Ali was a great man, and he could have lost it all fighting the good fight. But not only was he educated with his hands in the ring, even though he lacked a foundational education, a school education, Ali had an education at being a human being. And regardless of what faith he believed in, or regardless of what God he prayed to, Ali stood for the black man in this country. And for any person that felt that they were not given a fair shake to. Muhammad Ali, I'd like to take this time to say thank you. Thank you for putting your career, your dreams on the line for somebody like me. And your death and your legacy will not go in vain, because as long as people like myself continue to mention what you did and who you were as a man, your legacy will live on forever, my brother. Peace be with you, and continue to rest peacefully until one day we get a chance to meet and I get to tell you thank you personally. And ladies and gentlemen, that has been my show for the evening. I'd like to thank you guys who put your sets of eyeballs on this and gave me your ears just for a little bit. As you know, I need you to like the video, share the video, subscribe, hit the little notification button wherever it may be. Get notified when a new episode of Robs2Cents is going to be premiering. I can't believe we just recorded episode 13. All it took was a camera, a laptop, and a microphone. And you're going to watch your boy do magic. Once again, this has been the show that's hot with your boy Rob Scott. This was Robs2Cents. Continue to be loving, continue to be caring, and continue to be great. You know the slogan, baby. We gone.